Now that I've taught you the do's and don'ts, now that I've shown you the technique of shading, it is time for us to put all of this together and show you how that translates on an actual brow. Like I stated previously, my shading technique of choice is the pendulum swing, and just to remind you, it is the backwards and forward motion. The other two techniques that we have would be the flick away from you, or you can pull towards you. Whichever one you choose, just make sure that you are most comfortable with it. So I encourage you to try all three. You know, now is the time for you to practice. Now is the time for you to see what works and what isn't working for you. Now is the time for you to see what feels right and most comfortable. So practice all three techniques to see which one works best. Putting our machine on level 3. Remember, level 3 is the lowest. Always check your machine. Always check the number that it is at before you even go in and touch the skin, because one of the mistakes that I see a lot of persons making is they just turn it on and they're just going without really listening to your machine. Your machine is going to speak to you. Listen to it. When it is too high, you're going to hear that it is too high. When it's low, you're going to hear that it is low. So just really pay close attention to that, because we don't want to disrupt too much of the skin. So with shading, I like to start from the tail and then work my way forward. With 3D combo or ombre, I always usually just start from the tail and work forward, because again, the tail is going to be the darkest part. We need the shading to be nice and ombre so that it blends well at the front and also blends really well with our 3D hair strokes. Stretching the skin, pulling up hair, pulling hair, and just using my pinky as a stabilizer. I'm just going to practice my swing below like I always do. And I'm just going to go in and take my time. Now with the tail, what you want to do is, this is a time for you to test out the pressure to ensure that you are using the right pressure and making sure that the person's skin is taking it properly. And also with my shading, I like to do it in sections. I don't like to just do the whole thing and just, wipe off and be done. I found that when I do the brows in sections, when I do the shading in sections, I really ensure that I get that nice even finish that I am looking for. So I'm just going to start here, and this is going to be my first section. Remember, spending 3 seconds per area before we wipe and move forward. So I'm just going to wipe that off to see how that looks. Perfect. Now the skin is taking it amazing. Okay, I'm just going to wipe that off to ensure that it is nice and dry. And we're going to go in again. So we're going to start from 50% within here. So that would probably be like around here. Ensure that my machine has adequate ink on the inside, starting from 50%. And what we're going to do is just extend that. Remember, light pressure, but not too light and not too hard. Play around with it. Figure out what's working. Figure out what feels right. Figure out what, your skin is taking. Each skin is going to be different. Some skins take it better than others. Some just don't take it at all. So you really just need to play around and figure out and see how much pressure you need to apply on that particular brow that you're working with. So now I'm just going to wipe off this and see how it's looking. Nice. And as you can see, we're really building up that color right there. We're really ensuring that it has that nice gradient. And we're going to continue. So 50%. 50% would be from inside of this dark area. And if you have a hard time figuring out what 50% is, just check and see where last, where it's dark. Because as you can see, there's a clear line between here, the dark area, and up here, the light area. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull from within the dark area to ensure that it's nice and seamless. So again, I'm going to slightly change my angle. Start at the bottom, taking our 3 seconds. time to extend again. If you choose to start at the bottom, then start at the bottom and work your way to the top. If you choose to start from the top, start from the top and work your way down to the bottom. And the more that I come out of the tail, the longer my strokes become. And I've just found that that's just what really works well for me. If you prefer to continue to do shorter strokes, then you do the shorter strokes. You can see how well that's looking. You can see how nice it is with the pixels. You can see how nice it is blended. That is what you are going for. When you're coming around the angle, change your angle. When you're coming around the corner, the curved part, your arch of the brow, change your angle. Remember, you also want to take your time. You don't want to go outside of the line. You know, you really want to get on the line and not outside of the line. What's the whole point of going outside the line? What's the whole point of creating your outline to go outside of the line? So take your time.